He had always believed that kindness was not weakness, even when others laughed at him for it. Elias Ward lived on the edge of known space, where humanity had built small settlements among older alien civilizations that did not fully trust them yet. The frontier world of Hespera was rough and unpredictable. Dust storms rolled across metal cities, traders spoke in half-truths, and every traveler learned quickly that survival often meant thinking only about oneself. Yet Elias refused to live that way. His ship, the Silver Lark, was not large or powerful. It was a patched cargo vessel, with faded paint and an engine that hummed louder than it should. But he treated it like a trusted companion. He spent long hours maintaining its systems, making sure it could keep flying, even when parts were hard to find. Many other pilots chased profit or fame, but Elias took simple transport contracts, rescue jobs, or deliveries others ignored. People described him as quiet. Some said he was too soft for the frontier. But those who knew him well understood that his strength was steady and deep. He did not act for praise. He simply believed that every life mattered. One evening, while navigating an asteroid trade route, Elias noticed a faint signal blinking at the edge of his sensors. It was weak, almost lost in background noise. Most ships would have ignored it. Stopping in that area meant risk. Pirates sometimes used false distress signals as traps. He watched the signal for several minutes, fingers resting lightly on the console. His ship's computer warned him that approaching unknown vessels could trigger hostile defenses. Protocol recommended moving on. He sighed quietly. Someone might need help, he murmured to himself. He adjusted the course slightly, guiding the Silver Lark toward the signal. The drifting vessel came into view slowly, emerging from the darkness between asteroids. It was unlike any human ship, its hull curved like flowing metal, marked by glowing lines that pulsed faintly like a heartbeat. Damage scarred one side, and energy leaks flickered around broken panels. Elias felt a small knot of tension in his chest. Unknown species meant unknown reactions. He opened a communication channel. This is independent human pilot, Elias Ward. I'm receiving a distress signal. Are you able to respond? Static filled the speakers. He tried again. No reply. The ship's scans showed faint life signs. He hesitated only a moment longer before initiating docking procedures. The alien vessel's automated defenses flickered to life briefly, warning lights flashing, but they shut down just as quickly, as if power was failing. After securing his ship to the alien craft, Elias put on a light protective suit and moved toward the airlock. The interior atmosphere matched human standards closely enough. That surprised him. Perhaps this species had adapted to similar environments. Inside, the corridors were dim, glowing with soft blue light. The design felt organic, smooth surfaces without sharp corners. Symbols covered the walls, shifting slightly as if alive. He followed the faint life signal deeper into the vessel. The alien lay near a damaged control station, motionless except for slow breathing. She was tall and slender, her skin carrying a faint silver tone that reflected the ambient light. Long, dark hair framed her face, and subtle markings traced across her arms like patterns drawn by energy. Elias stopped several steps away, raising his hands slowly to show he meant no harm. "Hey," he said gently, even though he did not know if she understood his language.
"You're safe. I'm here to help."
Her eyes opened suddenly, sharp and alert despite her injury. They glowed faintly, watching him with intense focus. For a moment, neither moved. Then she tried to rise and nearly collapsed. Elias stepped forward instinctively, but paused when she lifted her hand in warning. Even injured, her posture held strength. He crouched slowly, lowering his gaze slightly to appear less threatening. "I won't hurt you," he said softly. Her breathing steadied. Perhaps she sensed his calm. He activated a portable translator, scanning for linguistic patterns. It struggled to interpret her speech when she finally spoke, her voice low and musical. "Human?" He nodded. Yes. Suspicion lingered in her expression, but she did not attack. Elias moved slowly, offering a medical scanner. He gestured to her injury, waiting for permission. After a long moment, she gave a small nod. The scanner revealed internal damage and energy exhaustion. Without treatment, she would not survive long. He worked carefully, applying stabilizers and sealing external wounds. She watched him the entire time, eyes never leaving his face, as if searching for hidden motives. When he finished, she seemed less tense. "My name is Elias," he said, pointing to himself. "Elias, She hesitated before answering. "Kalis." He smiled gently. "Nice to meet you, Kylie's, though
I wish it were under better circumstances."
A faint flicker of confusion crossed her face at his tone, but she did not pull away.
Hours passed as he repaired emergency systems and transferred power from his ship. During that time, he felt the weight of quiet between them. Communication remained difficult, but small gestures bridged the gap. At one point, she studied his hands as he worked, as if surprised by the care in his movements. "You risked?" she said slowly through the translator. He shrugged lightly. "Couldn't just leave you here." Her expression shifted subtly, curiosity mixing with something softer once basic systems stabilized. Elias guided her toward the docking corridor so she could rest on his ship where medical facilities were better. She hesitated at the threshold between their vessels, scanning every detail of the Silver Lark with cautious interest. Humans were unfamiliar territory. "You can trust me," he said quietly. She stepped across. The following hours were calm but tense. Elias brewed warm tea, offering it carefully. She sniffed it first, then tasted cautiously. Her reaction made him smile. She seemed surprised by the warmth and flavor. Outside, distant sensor alerts began to flicker. Elias checked the readings. Several unidentified ships were moving through nearby sectors. They followed irregular paths that suggested searching patterns. He frowned slightly. Kaylee's noticed his concern and moved closer, her posture becoming alert despite weakness. "Danger?" she asked. "Maybe," he admitted. The words seemed to carry weight for her. She closed her eyes briefly, then spoke rapidly in her own language. The translator struggled, producing fragments. "Pursuit! Enemies!" "Clan conflict." Elias exhaled slowly, so this rescue had consequences. "Well," he said quietly, "we'll figure it out together." She watched him, studying his face as if trying to understand why he remained calm. Hours later, as they prepared to leave the area, one of the unknown ships briefly locked onto their signal before disappearing again. The tension in the air thickened. Kaylee's moved toward the cockpit window, staring into the darkness beyond. "Why?" "Help?" she asked suddenly. He paused before answering. "Because someone helped me once when they didn't have to. I guess I never forgot that." She considered his words carefully. In her culture, strength meant survival through dominance and honor through battle. Yet this human had risked himself without expectation of reward. It did not fit her understanding of power. Still, she felt something unfamiliar, a sense of safety. The Silver Lark's engines ignited softly as Elias plotted a course away from the trade route. He chose a path less traveled, hoping to avoid whoever might be searching for her. As stars stretched into lines outside the viewport, silence settled between them, but it was no longer uncomfortable. She watched him work, noticing the small details, the way he checked systems twice, the calm tone he used when speaking to his ship's AI, the quiet patience in everything he did. He sensed her gaze and smiled faintly. "Try to rest. You'll need strength." She nodded slowly. As she closed her eyes, a strange thought crossed her mind. That perhaps strength had looked different than she had always believed, and Elias, unaware of how deeply his simple kindness had already begun to change her world, guided the ship forward into the unknown, toward danger, destiny, and something neither of them yet understood. Elias kept the Silver Lark on a quiet route, far from the busy lanes where traffic could easily track them. The ship moved through open space with a steady hum, while the stars outside seemed calm and uncaring. Inside, the air felt heavy with new questions. Kaylee's rested in the small medical bay. The bed was made for humans, so her long legs hung slightly over the edge. Elias had adjusted the room temperature and dimmed the lights to make it easier for her to relax. Even asleep, she looked alert, like someone trained to wake at the smallest sound. Elias checked the medical scanner again. Her breathing was stronger now, and her skin color looked less drained. The stabilizer shots had worked. But the scan still showed deep exhaustion. Whatever she had faced before he found her, it had taken a lot out of her. He stepped back, trying to keep his movements quiet. He did not want her to feel trapped. The chase through the asteroid field had pushed both him and the ship close to their limits. Warning lights flickered across the control panel, reminding him that several systems needed repair soon. Kayla sat beside him, silent but alert. The soft glow along her arms pulsed more steadily now, no longer flashing with stress. She watched the empty space ahead, her expression thoughtful. "They will continue," she said quietly. Elias nodded.
Yeah.
Hunters don't give up easily. The ship drifted toward a quiet region marked on the map as neutral space. Few trade routes crossed there, which made it safer but also lonely. Elias chose the path carefully, aiming for a small relay station he knew about, a place where independent pilots could send secure transmissions. Kaylee's turned toward him. "You still choose to help, even knowing the danger." He gave a small smile. "I told you before, leaving you isn't an option for me." Her gaze softened. For a long time she said nothing, but Elias felt the weight of her attention like warmth. They traveled in silence for a while. The quiet between them felt different now. Not tense, not uncertain. It felt shared. Finally, Kaylee spoke again. "In my culture, bonds form through battle or blood. But what we have?" She paused, searching for the right words. "It formed through kindness." Elias looked at her gently. "Maybe kindness is just another kind of strength." She nodded slowly, as if accepting a truth she once resisted. When the relay station appeared ahead, it looked almost abandoned. A small metal structure rotated slowly, lights dim and uneven. Elias guided the ship toward it and initiated docking. "Once we send the data," he said, "maybe we can reach someone who can protect you. Protection from outside my people may cause more conflict. So what's the other option?" he asked softly. She met his eyes. "Return alone. Face them."
Elias shook his head firmly. "No."
"You're not alone anymore." Her breath caught slightly at his words. The docking clamp locked into place, and they stepped into the station together. The interior was quiet, nearly empty. Only a single caretaker drone floated near the entrance, scanning them briefly before allowing access. Elias guided Kaylee's toward a private communication terminal. She connected a small device from her belt to the system. Lines of alien symbols flowed across the screen, shifting quickly.
"This is the data?" he asked. "Yes," she said.
Records of secret agreements, hidden attacks, false orders, enough to change everything. Elias watched her carefully. "Are you sure you want to release it?" She hesitated. "If truth spreads, my people may divide, but if truth stays hidden, more suffering comes." Elias placed his hand lightly over hers. "Then do what feels right to you." She took a slow breath and activated the transmission. The data uploaded slowly, each second feeling heavy with meaning. Suddenly, the station lights flickered red. Elias's heart jumped. "That's not good." Kalis's eyes sharpened instantly. They tracked us again. Outside the window, 2 sleek ships moved into position near the docking ring. They were larger than before, painted in dark colors that seemed to absorb light. Elias cursed under his breath. They must have followed our jump trail. Kylie stepped back from the console. Transmission almost complete. Almost isn't enough, Elias said, moving quickly toward the control panel near the exit. We need time. He sealed several internal doors and activated emergency alarms, hoping to slow anyone trying to board. Footsteps echoed faintly from distant corridors, heavy, deliberate. Kalis's posture shifted into full warrior readiness, though she still looked tired. Elias felt fear rise in his chest, but he pushed it aside. He would not leave her. The console beeped loudly. Transmission complete. Kaylee's exhaled slowly. It is done. Elias smiled briefly. Good. Now we run. They moved quickly back toward the Silver Lark. The corridor lights flashed red, casting long shadows along the walls. As they turned a corner, 3 figures appeared ahead, armored hunters blocking the path. Elias slowed, raising his hand slightly. Kalis stepped forward instead, her presence calm but powerful. You come for data, she said coldly. Too late. The lead hunter laughed softly. Data is only part of it. You broke tradition, Kalis. You sided with a human. Elias felt anger spark inside him at the way they said human, like it was something lesser. She made her own choice, he said firmly. The hunter turned toward him. You are nothing but a distraction. Kalis moved slightly closer to Elias, protective without thinking. You will not take him, she said. The hunter tilted his head. He made himself part of this. Elias swallowed, forcing calm into his voice. We don't want to fight. The hunter raised a weapon slowly. But we do. Before he could fire, Kalis moved. Fast and precise. She knocked the weapon aside and pushed Elias behind her. The corridor filled with motion and energy. She did not fight with rage, but with control, disarming rather than harming where possible. Elias grabbed a nearby control panel and triggered a maintenance door, dropping a heavy barrier between them and the hunters. Go! He shouted. They ran the rest of the way to the docking bay. The Silver Lark welcomed them with familiar quiet. Elias jumped into the pilot seat, hands flying across controls. Engines roared to life. Outside, another hunter ship moved closer, trying to block their escape. Haley's leaned over the console. Your ship can handle this? Elias grinned slightly despite the danger. She always does. He pushed power into the engines, breaking free from the docking clamp. The Silver Lark shot forward, dodging incoming fire. Haley's held onto the back of his seat, watching every move. You trust your instincts. Always, he said. The ship twisted sharply, slipping between the 2 hunter vessels. Elias triggered a burst of countermeasures, scattering bright signals that confused enemy targeting systems. For a moment, they were clear. He activated faster travel without hesitation. Stars stretched again, leaving the hunters behind. Silence filled the cockpit once more. Elias leaned back, breathing heavily. His hands trembled slightly from adrenaline. Kaylee's watched him carefully, then slowly reached forward and placed her hand over his. Her touch felt warm, steady. You risked everything, she said quietly. So did you, he replied. She shook her head. I risked duty. You risked life without obligation. Elias looked at her, meeting her glowing eyes. I chose to... Something shifted between them then. A quiet understanding, deeper than words. Kaylee's moved closer, her voice soft. In my culture, to hold someone after battle means trust. May I? Elias nodded gently. She wrapped her arms around him carefully, holding him close. The gesture felt unfamiliar but natural at the same time. He felt her strength, but also her vulnerability. He returned the embrace slowly. In that moment, the chaos of war and pursuit faded away. They were simply two beings who had found each other against impossible odds. After a while, she pulled back slightly, her expression softer than he had ever seen it. "You changed me," she said. He smiled gently. "You changed me too." They set a new course together, not toward hiding, but toward a future shaped by choice rather than fear. The data had been sent. Truth was spreading. The hunters would not stop, but neither would they. As the silver lark traveled into the open stars, Kylise remained beside Elias, her presence no longer guarded, but open. He had valued kindness over safety, and in doing so he had not only saved a life, he had found connection, trust, and a love that crossed worlds. And for the first time since this journey began, neither of them felt alone.